In this video, you will learn how to fit to one page, do horizontal and vertical centering, highlighting separate pieces of information, more chart use, and tab names and color. So we're going to begin by putting a title in here. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and make my screen a little bigger for you. You don't have to make yours bigger. In A1, go ahead and put the title Winter. And then in cell B3, let's put the word tea, and then coffee, cider, and water total. And we're going to do January, February, and I'm just going to highlight January and February. Go to the bottom right hand corner, I'm going to drag down, and I'm just going to fill into April. You can key them in if you would like. Alright, at this point, we can, now since we know our information only goes to column F, we can now stretch our merge and center our title. So I'm going to put my mouse in the middle of cell A1. I'm going to click and drag over to F1 because that's how far information goes. I'm going to go ahead and click the merge and center. Alright, now we're going to put in our numbers. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll do 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Now, I don't want you adding these in your head, and I don't want you using the calculators. Again, the whole point of Excel is to make life easier and for Excel to do all the work. So in cell F4, go ahead and use the auto sum and just double check, make sure that the moving line, the highlighted area is correct, and it is. I'm going to enter. I'm then going to click back on my answer. I'm going to move down to the lower right hand corner of my answer. I'm going to drag down. I'm going to go over to cell B8. I'm going to go ahead and use my auto sum. The correct information is highlighted. I'm going to enter. Click back on my answer. Go to the bottom right hand corner and drag over. And just to let you know, we don't need a total of the totals. This is a time when we don't need that. There's no use for it. So just leave this area blank. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we are going to make a chart. Now we're not going to highlight a chunk of information like we did previously. We're going to highlight separate pieces of information. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to highlight from January to April. So I move my mouse to the middle of A4, I clicked and I dragged down to April. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to hold the control key down. So go ahead, push your control key down, and you have to do this exactly. Move your mouse over to the middle of F4, click and drag down until you hit the 22. If you have highlighted somewhere else accidentally, or you mishighlighted somewhere, you need to start over. It has to be exactly. If it's not exactly, your chart will not be right. Notice we have two separate pieces of information highlighted. I do not have a chunk, meaning that from here all the way over to here, I don't have that highlighted. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go up to Insert, and I'm just going to use my column graph, and I'm going to use the 3D. See how nice that looks? That looks really nice. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the corner of it and kind of shrink it down just a tad. And I'm going to fit it. I'm going to fit it. And I'm going to make sure it stretches out. See how it's exactly from this side over to the edge of my column here? It matches exactly. I just want you to do that with this. I want you to match it to where it's stretched out exactly. It's put underneath your information and it's stretched out very nicely. Here, I'll make mine small so you can kind of get an idea. See how it's stretched out exactly? So everything is kind of exactly perfect. Everything lines up with the right side of the F, and everything lines up with the left side of the A here. See how everything's nice and perfect? Okay, moving on with that. So, again, you have your chart. You know by now how to change your chart title, your colors, and so on and so forth. Oops, I'm going to click off of that. Now, we're going to highlight different information this time. So what I want you to do, I want you to highlight T over to water. T over to water. Hold your control key down and highlight 19 over to 22. So we're taking the total of, notice that what we did before is we took the months with their totals, and now we're taking the specific information with their totals. So let's go back to insert. This time let's do a bar graph. And I'm going to do a 3D. I like 3D. And now we don't need more than one chart on our page here. We don't need to do that. So we're going to go to Move Chart Location. Remember, you choose the first bubble there. And remember, there's no lines. If you see lines, you have it in the wrong place. And you will have it marked wrong. Okay, so again, it's a little bit bigger. Maybe I better keep it smaller. Again, you can change the chart title. You can make the words bigger. You can change the color. Remember, you're doing that with the Add Chart element. You can add the callouts. You can do other things that you need to do. On the format is where you do the color changes and so on and so forth. Okay, we have that. Now, we have our chart down here. Look at the tab at the bottom. Now move your mouse on top of it and right click on it. We are going to rename this chart. And I'm just going to put the word chart for right now. In your assignments, I'll give you the names of what should be down there. On sheet 1, go ahead and rename that Winter, I think it was. Winter is the title. Okay, now if you right click on the chart, you can change the color. Go ahead, choose a color. And on the winter one, go ahead and choose a color. So now we have renamed the tabs and we have colored the tabs. Okay, now I'd like you back on your winter tab, which has all your information on it. I want to show you something. We're going to do some work in the print area. We're not going to print anything, but I want you to see this before we move on to what we're doing. Now, if I'm working in this area here, and notice how I have my chart selected. Well, let's say my directions were to go to File, Print, and to make it one page and do all the other extra stuff I need to do. Okay, so I go to File, and I go to Print. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute here. This isn't right. This is my chart. I'm not supposed to have my chart. So what you need to do is, if you see your chart in that preview, you need to come back here and click off anywhere. Just click off of it. And then go back to File, Print, because this is what I need you to have. Okay, I don't want you to have the chart, just the chart. I need you to have all the information here. Okay, now that we have our information here, we're going to go to Page Setup. on your page setup, under margins, or on the margins tab, at the very bottom, notice there's horizontally and vertically. Go ahead and click on that. And you'll also notice you have a header and footer area. Now, you know how to do a footer when you're actually on the spreadsheet, in the spreadsheet area. You can also do a footer area here. If you go to custom footer, notice that you have 3 sections. We can go ahead and do the 3 sections. Put your name. Please put your name, not mine. In the center section, you put today's date, or you see how there's a number 7 here with a little calendar looking thing? If you click on that, it'll put a date formula here for you. And then over here, you just put the name of the assignment. Okay that, and okay this. And notice now it is perfectly horizontally and vertically centered, and it has your footer information at the bottom.